I offer my humble pranam at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Welcome to video lecture on microcontroller and embedded system laboratory. In this session, in this tutorial, I'm going to explain this particular problem, that is demonstrate the use of an external interrupts to toggle an LED on off. Okay, make it on and off. That's the meaning of toggle. So in previous lecture, we have discussed how to interface LCD, LED, stepper motor, DC motor, and so many other things. This is another very important topic about external interrupt. That's the interrupt interface. Okay. Now here, so what exactly the meaning of interrupt? In the case of interrupt, we can able to execute more than one task at different interval of time. In this example, I consider two tasks. The one is like a display count from 0 to F. For this, we can call it as a main task. So there will be one more task called subtask. In a given program, it is not possible to execute both programs simultaneously. Either we can able to execute this program or we can able to execute this program. Means we can able to perform this task or this task. It is not possible to perform simultaneously, parallelly both together. But with the help of interrupt system, we can able to achieve. But here also it's not possible to run simultaneously. So what we can do is assume this program is keep running. This is like your main program. It's counting 0 to F on 7 segment display. Okay, this main program must be infinite loop. It's keep doing this job. So it's counting from 0 to F. Then after F, it comes back. It starts from 0. But once if we interrupt this program, okay, somebody has to be there to stop this program temporarily, not permanently. Then go to another task. For that task, we can call it as a interrupt service subroutine, ISR. Okay, assume here there will be a program to toggle these LEDs. Say make it on. If it is on, make it off. If it is off, make it on. That's the meaning of this. Okay, to achieve this, we have to go for some interrupts. In our case, we are going to discuss about external interrupt. External interrupt. Actually, basically, we have four external interrupt. External interrupt 0, external interrupt 1, external interrupt 2, external interrupt 3, external interrupt 3, 0 to 3. There's a 4 interrupts. Therefore, in this case, I'm going to use external interrupt 2 that is available at P0.7. Means we have to configure a P0.7 as external interrupt 2 by using pin select register. Pin select register. Later I'm going to explain in detail about that. Here there will be a switch. Okay, the switch is connected to P0.7. Okay, it's a push button type switch. So by default, it is open. By the time it is connected to 3.3 volt, then what is the voltage at this point? That is 3.3 volt. Then it latches high, means high. By default, it is high. Okay, we'll get this voltage by default. Suppose if you press this switch, what happens? So this is connected to ground. Then what is the potential at the ground? That is 0, the 0 volt. Therefore, it's going to change its voltage from 3.3 volt to 0 volt. Means it's going to switch over from high to low. Actually, for this, we can call it as a falling edge. During this falling edge, then it comes to know that there'll be a request, there'll be interrupt from the external devices or from external events. Okay, external person. Okay, because we are going to press this switch or release by some person. Therefore, what happens once we press this switch, then it's going to switch over. There'll be a transition from high to low. Then only it comes to know that there'll be a request or there'll be a interrupt. Okay, from external event. Okay, from external person. Then immediately it will stop this program temporarily. Then it comes to this. Okay, it may be any other program, not only this. Now in this example, I consider the 8 LEDs. Okay, if it is on, you have to make it off. If it is off, you have to make it on. Then once after completion of this job, go back and continue this task. Okay, it's keep on doing this task. Once you press stop, start this. Okay, then after completion of this, go back. Understood these things? Okay, it's a main program. The main program must be infinite loop. It must be infinite loop. Actually, I have discussed in detail about how to display from 0 to F. So we know this is also one experiment. Then in one video, I explained how to toggle 8 LEDs. Therefore, I'm not explaining the program related to 7-segment display as well as LEDs, toggle LED. Just I'm going to concentrate on interrupt system. Okay, external interrupt system, how to configure, okay, how to use appropriate register, all those things. Okay, here I'm going to discuss with two cases. Let it be case one. Sometime the student asks me to reduce the length of the code. Okay, if it is code is smaller, they can able to memorize easily. They said that is their requirement. That's why here I have two cases. Okay, depending upon your requirement, you can use any one program as you like. So there is no problem at all. Now here, in case one, I'm not writing any main task here, but the main program must contain some infinite loops here. Here, this is a function to initialize interrupt system or configure interrupt system. So once if you execute this code, it takes you to that function. It will configure interrupt system. Then afterwards, it comes to this particular loop, while loop. So while one means always true, always true. Then it enters into the while loop. What is the meaning of this? That is do nothing. There is no instruction. Still, it is valid. Okay, there is no error at all. No need to write any statement. That is also valid. Then once it comes to this, do nothing. Go back. It will check the status of this true. Then it's keep on executing same thing. Assume we are going to press this button, switch, interrupt switch. Interrupt switch is nothing but a push button switch that is connected to P0.7. We are configuring this as external interrupt 2. Then once if you press this button, then it comes to know that there will be a request, there will be interrupt. Then immediately it takes you to interrupt subroutine, interrupt service routine. It comes to this particular program. Here I'm writing on program to toggle 8 LEDs. Okay, make it on or off, all 8 LEDs. Okay, if all are on, then it is going to make it off. If all are off, it's going to make it on. Then after performing this job, it will go back, it will continue this only. Whatever the things are available within this infinite loop, it's keep executing this, it comes back to this. This is one example. So one more thing is, here I've written complete program to count from 0 to F. Okay, and display it on 7-segment display. Just I'm using only one digit here. It will count from 0 to 9 and A through F, hexadecimal up counter, and it's keep repeating. How many times? It is infinite. I'm written complete program for this also, for this particular task. Okay, it's keep running infinitely. Okay, then once if you press interrupt button, interrupt switch, then immediately it will stop this program temporarily. The control goes to ISR, then it toggles 8 LEDs. Okay, it's going to execute this task. After completion of this, it will switch over, it will return back to the main, then it will start where it was stopped. Okay, that's the main purpose. But it's very difficult to notice the switchover time. It's very fast because it's working in terms of millisecond or nanosecond, microsecond. Therefore, it's very difficult to differentiate the transition between the one task with another task. That's the main program to ISR. It's very difficult to differentiate. It's something like both are running simultaneously. Okay, this is case 2. What is case 1? I'm not writing any main program, but we have to create some infinite loop. It's keep always executing this. Once if you interrupt the system, then it comes to your ISR, interrupt service routine. It executes this, it will return back. Here, to create some awareness, I have written one more program as a main program to display 0 to F and 7-segment display. And it's keep on doing this infinitely. Once if you interrupt the system, it takes you to ISR, it executes this program. After completion of this, it will go back, It's going to continue this particular main task. Okay, understood this topic? Then next I'm going to explain all the registers used to achieve all these things. Okay, I'm not concentrating much on 7-segment display, all those things. Okay, now here there will be three important keyword. That is, one is called say interrupt request, then interrupt service routing. So what exactly the meaning of interrupt? An interrupt is a signal sent to the CPU which indicates that a system event has occurred which needs immediate attention. Okay, once it interrupts the system, okay, then it has to go there and we have to do that particular job. Then one more thing is interrupt request. Okay, request from external devices. Okay, external devices can be thought of as special request to the CPU to execute a function. That is nothing but a separate program, sub program. Okay, when an interrupt occurs. So in this case, toggle LEDs, 8 LEDs. Okay, then ISR, this function of a small piece of code is technically called an interrupt service routine or ISR. Okay, so that's the meaning of ISR. It's a separate program, subprogram. Once if you interrupt the system, then it takes you to this particular subroutine. Then it executes this. After completion of this, it will return back to the main program where we have stopped. So when an IRQ arrives to the CPU, once if you interrupt the system, it stops executing the current code, okay, and start executing the ISR. Means here interrupt means stop one task and do another task. That's the meaning of interrupt. Okay. After ISR execution has finished, the CPU gets back to where it has stopped. So that is the meaning of this. Okay. Now if you go for because mainly we are concentrating on LPC 2148 microcontroller. If you go to this, we have to know something about interrupt system. There are 22 interrupt sources in LPC 2148 microcontroller. It's a 32-bit microcontroller. But there are only 16 slots in the vector interrupt controller. Actually, we have discussed there will be something called GPIO block, or there will be something called DAC, there will be something called ADC, there will be something called UART. Okay, in the same way, to handle this interrupt, so there will be a separate block called vector interrupt controller. So simply we can call it as VIC. All registers start with VIC. VIC stands for vector interrupt controller. There will be a controller called interrupt controller called vector interrupt controller. In short, we can call it as VIC. These 22 possible sources have to be shared by using slot 0 to 15 of VIC. Now slot 0 got highest priority and slot 15 got lowest priority. So if you go for LPC 2148 microcontroller, we have totally 22 interrupts. So you can say they allotted some position. Here the position 0 like the watchdog timer interrupt. Okay, the position 16 external interrupt 2. Here 14 belongs to external interrupt 0. I told you already we have 4 external interrupts. So in this tutorial, I'm going to concentrate on external interrupt. Okay, there will be interrupt for timer also. There will be interrupt for UART also. But in this lecture, I'm going to concentrate on external interrupt. Okay, as for my example, I'm going to use external interrupt 2. What is the position of this? That is 16. Here, the bit number, the position 2 is not used, not applicable. That's why 0 to 22, 23, but it is not there. That's why there will be 22 interrupt sources are available. Okay, interrupt sources are available. Therefore, this got highest priority and this got the lowest priority. Depending upon your requirement, you can use appropriate slot from 0 to 15. That's the meaning of this. Okay. Now, here, if you want to write a program, if you want to configure the interrupt system, we require some important registers. So without knowing this, it is not possible to configure interrupt system. It's not possible to write a program. Therefore, here there will be a register called external interrupt mode register. So in short, we can call it a EXT mode. What's the meaning of EXT mode? It's a register It's a 8-bit register. What's the name of this register? External interrupt mode register. Okay, it's a 8-bit register 0 to 4. Sorry, 0 to 7. That is starting from 4 to 7. It is not used. That is reserved. The 0 bit number 0 to 3 is used for external interrupt 0 to external interrupt 3. 0 to 3. We have 4 external interrupt. So what is the position of those interrupts? That is 14, 15, 16, 17. That is external interrupt 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now this bit makes the external interrupt pin either level sensitive or edge sensitive. Level sensitive or edge sensitive. What exactly the meaning of this? There are many details for how and why they are used. Now just look here. Here, if you go for a switch, just I'm going to explain with that. It's very, very important point. If you come to this, if you consider this particular switch, here, sometime, assume initially it is low. Then it's going to respond only after high and it remains high. That is called a level sensitive. Okay, level sensitive. So what is the meaning of edge sensitive? So then the inter system comes to know that, okay, microcontroller comes to know that there will be request during transition. Okay, either it may be negative edge, that is high to low, or it may be positive edge, okay, low to high, 0 to 1, or 1 to 0 means negative, 0 to 1 means positive. In another way, we can call it as a rising edge, or we can call it as falling edge. Means during this transition, it comes to know that there'll be an interrupt, there'll be a request. That is one thing. So one more thing is, okay, it won't sense the request during this transition. It will sense only if the level is reached, means it is high. Okay, it remains high. It won't recognize the request during transition period. But depending upon your requirement, we can configure whether you require level sensitive or edge sensitive. Okay, level or edge sensitive. It's an example for edge sensitive. This is called edge sensitive. Either it may be positive or it may be negative. Okay, rising or falling. Level sensitive and edge sensitive. Clear this point? Okay, therefore we have to configure depending upon your requirement. You can see that here, in this case, that is level sensitive selected for EINT 0 to 3. So then one for what? Edge sensitive. In this case, we are talking about edge sensitive. We are talking about what? Edge sensitive, not for level sensitive. Therefore, we have to make a bit number 3. Actually, bit number 2. Okay. Actually, here what happened? 0 for external interrupt 0, bit number 1 for external interrupt 1, bit number 2 for external interrupt 2, 0, 1, 2. Therefore, we have to make bit number 2 equal to 1. Okay, I have to set bit number 2. Therefore, we are going to configure external interrupt 2 as edge sensitive. Okay, why you have to go for edge sensitive? I already told you about this particular thing. That is, edge sensitive means this. Because initially it is high. By default, what is the potential at this point? That is high. Once if we press the switch, then it will change from high to low. It means it's connected to ground. Therefore, there will be a transition from high to low. That is edge, not constant. It is not high, remains high. Okay, but here what happened? There will be a transition from high to low. That's why I have to go for edge sensitive. That is the meaning of this. Okay, I have to configure this register. Means you have to write 1 at bit number 2. How to achieve this? That's why this is instruction. External mode register equal to 4. Okay, once if you write this data into external mode register, it makes bit number 2 equal to high. Then we are going to configure external interrupt 2 as edge sensitive. That is the meaning of this particular register. Understood? Edge sensitive mode on external interrupt 2. Okay. Then actually I'm explaining a program line by line. Okay. Now one more register, that is external interrupt polarity register. Okay, EXT-POLR, polarity. Polarity means what? That is like a positive, or it may be negative. For that, we can call it as a polarity. I already told you about this. That is, here there will be two cases. One is a positive edge. Positive edge 0 to 1, that's called a positive. 1 to 0 called negative edge. Positive and negative, or in another way, rising and falling. Therefore, in this case, tell me rising or falling. We are going to change from low to high or high to low. We know that by default it is high because we are using push button switch. If you go for a push button switch, by default it is open. Then this circuit, this point is connected to 3.3 volt, that is high. By default it is high. Once we press, then it change from high to low, means this is connected to ground, therefore it is low. Therefore, what type of sensitivity means, what type of polarity means, a positive, negative, it is negative. That is a falling edge. So we have to configure this also. Then only it's going to sense, okay, there'll be interrupt. Okay, means during this transition, then only it comes to know that there'll be a request. But during rising, low to high, it won't sense. During level, it won't sense. Only during falling edge, once you press the button, okay, it's going to create this particular edge like a falling edge, okay, negative edge. Then the system comes to know that, the controller comes to know that there'll be a request, there'll be interrupt from external devices. That's the meaning of this. Therefore, with the help of external polarity register, we have to configure. So that is the purpose of using this particular instruction. What's the meaning of this? Here, this bit number 3 is also 8-bit register. Bit number 3 to bit number 3 is reserved for this external interrupt 0 to external interrupt 3. Okay. If it is 0, what it means? Falling edge. Okay. If it is 1, it is rising edge. Falling means negative edge. Rising means positive edge. In our case, we are using falling edge. Therefore, we have to make bit number 2 equal to 0. We have to make bit number 2 equal to 0 because we are talking about external interrupt 2. We are talking about external interrupt 2. That's why you have to make bit number 2 equal to low without affecting other bits. That is very, very important. Without affecting, okay, without changing other bits, whatever the information we have from bit number 0 to bit number 7, we have to retain all the bits as it is, but we have to make bit number 2 equal to low. So to achieve this, we have to execute this particular statement. Okay, so get the current content of explore, let's say ext POLR register. Then mask this data with what? Inverted data of this. In this case, what happened? It's going to make bit number 2 equal to low, and it's going to return the remaining bit as it is. That is the meaning of this. Okay, in another way, once if you execute this, it's going to choose falling edge. Means it's going to detect, okay, there'll be request during falling. It won't recognize the request during rising or level. That's the meaning of this. Okay, any doubts here? Understood this? Okay. Next, we have one more register called external interrupt, EXTINT register. Okay, external INT register has 8 bits, out of which only 4 are used. 4 are used. That is EINT0 to EINT3. If you have assigned an external interrupt as EINT2, then when that interrupt is triggered, this bit gets active, that is becomes 1. Means, what is the purpose of using this particular register? Suppose at the beginning, okay, means once if you enter into ISR, then after completion of that work, we have to reset the bit, means that interrupt request is serviced. The services request is served. Okay, therefore, how can you say the request is served? Therefore, we have to clear that particular bit. So that is the main purpose of using this. That is, after execution of ISR, we must clear this EINT2 with writing 1 to 8. Once if you write into this particular bit number 2, then it's going to clear the interrupt request, means the service request is serviced. Okay, suppose assume you forget to do this job, in your ISR, that is, if you fail, so then in future this ISR would not work, not execute again when interrupt occurs. That's what this step is very, very important. After servicing the request, that is, you must clear this particular bit. That's the meaning of this by writing one. If you write one, that is interrupt means actually it is, what is the meaning of this? After execution of ISR, we must clear this EINT, in this case EINT2, with writing 1 to that particular bit. That's the meaning of this. Okay. Then I told you already, VIC stand for Vector Interrupt Control Block. Under this, there will be a register called Interrupt Select Register. It's a read-write register. It is a 32-bit register. It's a 32-bit register. What is the purpose of using this register? What's the purpose of using this register? Actually, we have two types of interrupt. That is interrupt request, normal, then fast interrupt request. So in this case, we are talking about interrupt request. That's a normal interrupt request, not fast interrupt request. Therefore, with the help of this particular register, we can able to configure as IRQ. That is, this register is used to select an interrupt as IRQ or as FIQ. How to achieve this? That is, writing a 0 at a given bit location will make the corresponding interrupt as IRQ. That is, writing a 1 will make it fast interrupt request. For example, that is 1 for FIQ, 0 for IRQ. That's the meaning of this. Writing a 0 at a given bit location make the corresponding interrupt as IRQ. Writing 1 will make it as a FIQ, fast interrupt request. Okay. Suppose in this case, example, if we make bit 16 as 0, then the corresponding interrupt source, that is EINT2, will be IRQ. Else, if we make bit 16 as 1, it will be FIQ, means fast interrupt request. Understood this? Therefore, here we are going to execute one statement. Okay. So what is the position of EINT2, means external interrupt 2? We know that that is 16. We know that that is 16. So just we can see here. Here EINT2 comes under 16. Therefore, we have to make the bit position, bit number 16 to what? 1. Okay, so 0 or 1 here. In this case, that must be 0. So you have to write 0 here. Okay, at bit number 16, you have to write 0 here. This is your interrupt select register. It is a 32-bit register. X means either it may be 0 or 1. Okay. Now there will be a data. Let's call it a masking data. This is your masking data. Actually, what is the meaning of this? Shift 1, how many times? 16 times. 16 times. Means if you execute only this particular statement, you will get 1 here, this bit 1. The remaining bits are 0. The remaining bits are 0. Just if you execute only this portion. Okay, by the time here you will get 1, bit number 16 is 1, this bit number 16, this is bit number 15, this becomes 1, the remaining bits equal to 0. Because of this inverter, it's going to invert everything. Means 0 becomes 1 and 1 becomes 0. Here 1, na, this becomes 0, the rest of the bits are 1. Okay. So what is the purpose of doing this? Means after getting this data, if you add this particular information with your initial value, initial content of interrupt select register, it is going to retain all the bits as it is. Suppose here assume x equal to 0, bit number 0 equal to 0, 0 into 1, 0. Here 0 will get 0. If it is 1, will get 1. Means whatever the information we have here, okay, this x, it is going to retain as it is. You are not supposed to disturb. Okay, some task is going on. You are not supposed to disturb those tasks. That's why here it's going to retain this information as it is. But if you come to this particular bit number 16, either it may be 1 or it may be 0. Finally, that becomes 0 only here. If it is 1, 1 into 0, because we are using AND operation, bitwise AND operation, logical multiplication. If it is 1, 1 into 0, 0. Okay, if it is 0, 0 into 0, 0. Therefore, finally it becomes 0. Therefore, by making bit number 16 equal to 0, we are going to configure, that is EINT2 as what? Interrupt request, normal IRQ, that is IRQ 16, because EINT2 comes under 16, that the main source from 16. Okay, that's the meaning of this. Understood this particular idea? Okay, so just in the program writing only this much. Well, if you want to understand this, the first we have to understand this particular basic things. Okay, that is a vector interrupt control. Under this, it's a 32-bit registers. By writing 0 at bit position 16, we can able to configure this as IRQ, because we are using this as IRQ. That's the meaning of this. Okay. The another thing is, okay, we know that there will be a main program and there will be a sub program. So we know that there will be interrupt. So once there will be a request, once there will be a interrupt, then we have to go to the predefined, means that IS. Therefore, we must know the starting address of that. So we are going to provide the starting address. Okay, somebody has to be there to initialize. Somebody has to be there to give the starting address. That is taken care by this. Therefore, here if you go for this, we have a register, 32-bit register called vector address 0 to vector address 15. Okay, vector address 0 to vector address 15. Okay, so what is the function of this? Here, for vector IRQ, this refers to the address of the function that must be called when interrupt occurs. That is very important. Okay, so we know that this is your ISR. Okay, it may be toggle 8 LEDs or it may be another any other function. We have to get the starting address of this ISR and we have to write into this register. This register, in this case, actually in this example, we are using vector address 5 because we have 0 to 5 or 0 to 15. You can use anything as you like. Therefore, in this case, in this example, we are using vector address 5. Therefore, it gets the address. It's going to get the address of what? EXT ISR. That's the name of ISR. You can give any name as you like. You can give a toggle 8 LEDs. You can give any name as you like. Therefore, get the address. Then type cast to this unsigned int, and it's going to write this address, 32-bit address, into this register, 32-bit register. That's vector address register. Vector address register number 5. It's a part of your vector interrupt control block. That's the meaning of this. Okay, we're getting the address of the ISR. That's a very, very important thing. Okay, next thing is, there will be some other register called vector interrupt control 0 to vector interrupt control 5. So what is the meaning of this? What is the purpose of using this? So just look here. These are the vector control registers. These are used to assign a particular interrupt source to a particular slot. As mentioned before, slot 0 got highest priority and slot 15 as lowest priority. In this case, this is your vector interrupt control, vector control register. Here, vector control registers. We have totally 15 registers starting from 0 to 15. Okay, out of 32 bit, we are using only from here to here. That is starting from bit number 0 to bit number 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then what is the purpose of using these 5 bits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 0 to 4. 0 to 4. And there will be 5th bit. This is 5th bit. Here we know that we are using external interrupt 2, EINT2. What is the position of this 16? Okay, we have to write this 16 here. What is the binary equivalent of 16? 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. I have to write here. Then we have to enable the interrupt system. Okay, we have to enable the interrupt system. Means, suppose if you want to use your electricity, okay, it may be TV or it may be your washing machine, whatever it may be, then the main must be on. Okay, if the main is on, your electrical system is enabled. In the same manner, here we have interrupt system. If you want to enable the interrupt system, this bit must be high. Okay, what is the position of this bit? It is bit number 5. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Means I'm writing, means I'm shifting 1 towards left how many times 5. So once if you execute this particular statement, it makes this bit equal to 1, means your interrupt system is enabled, then only it's possible to serve the request, otherwise not possible. Then what is the purpose of writing this 16? Because we are using EINT2, external interrupt 2. So what is the position of this 16? Okay, the source of interrupt is 16. Therefore, we have to write 16 here. So once if you execute this particular statement, it makes this equal to 1. Then 16 means 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Means it comes to know that it uses external interrupt 2. Suppose here, instead of 16, if you write 4, then we are using timer 0 interrupt. Suppose if you write 6 here, UART 0 interrupt. If you write 7, UART 1 interrupt. Therefore, depending upon your requirement, you can write the number, appropriate number. But this is constant because you have to enable the interrupt system. This remains constant. But if you want to use external interrupt 0, then you have to write 14. If you want to use external interrupt 3, you have to write 17. But in this case, we are using external interrupt 2. Therefore, we have to write 16. Understood this? It is another very important thing. Okay. Here, first we have to get the starting address of ISR. How to get the starting address of ISR? That's this the way. Then, actually, request comes from which interrupt source? Okay, request from external interrupt 2. That's why that is the purpose of using these 5 bits. 5 bits. Correct na? 5 bits. 4 bit is not sufficient. Using 4 bits, I can have only 0 to 15, only 16. But here we have 22 interrupts. That's why here 22 interrupts are there. That's why we need 5 bits. Okay, and enable. 1 for enable, 0 for disable. That is the purpose of using this particular register. Understood this point? Okay. Then there will be one more register called interrupt enable register. Interrupt enable register. Interrupt enable register. It's also read write register. This is used to enable interrupts. Okay, this is used to enable interrupt. It is also 32-bit register. Okay, writing 1 into that particular bit, it enables. If you write 0, no problem. So, no, there is no effect. The writing 0, zeros has no effect. The writing 1 means enable. The interrupt system is enabled. In this case, okay, we are executing this. Means we are writing 1 at bit number 16. What's the meaning of this? If you execute this particular statement, then it's going to shift 1. How many times? 16 times. Okay, the remaining bits are 0. Therefore, this data is written into interrupt enable register. Means bit number 16 becomes 1. The rest of the bits are 0. Okay, why 16? Why not some other number? I told you already, here 16, EINT2, external interrupt 2 comes under 16, bit number 16. That's why I have to execute this particular statement. That is EINT2 interrupt system is enabled. That is, if you want to use electrical system, okay, any electrical appliances, okay, we have to enable the electrical system. The main should be on. Main should be on. Suppose if you want to disable, okay, I'm going outside. Therefore, I want to switch off everything. Then instead of switch off individual appliances, you can go and switch off the main. By the time it's going to disable the complete electrical system. In the same manner, here if you want to enable, write 1. Okay, if you want to disable, okay, then just write 0 for some other things. Okay, we have some other register for that purpose. Okay, by writing 1 at bit number 16, what happened? It enables the interrupt system. The interrupt system is on. Okay, and there will be one more statement. Okay, to clear the interrupt means after servicing the request. After servicing the request, okay, what we have to do? We have to clear that particular request. That is the main purpose of this. We know that what is the binary equivalent of 4? 0, 1, 0, 0. 1, 0, 0. So the first bit 0, second bit 0, third bit is 1. Therefore, if you write this data, it's going to clear EINT2 interrupt. Okay, it's another very important step. Understood this? Okay, the one more thing is, I told you already, we have totally 4 interrupts: external interrupt 0, external interrupt 1, external interrupt 2, external interrupt 3. So in my example, I'm going to use external interrupt 2. Okay, then here I'm going to use P0.7 port 0 bit number 7. I have to use P0.7 as external interrupt 2. Therefore, we have to go for pin select 0 register. Under that, bit number 1415 reserved for this. Suppose if you want to use this as a GPIO, I have to write 00 here. If you want to use this function, you have to write 01. But in my case, I want to use this pin as external INT2, interrupt 2. That's how to write 11. So if you go to pin select 0 register, it's a 32-bit register. Okay, it's a bit number 14. This is a bit number 15. I have to write 11. If you write 11, then here 11. See here 11. Then we're going to configure bit number P0.7 as external interrupt 2. That is, if you want to select this as external interrupt 2 for this particular function, you have to write 11. So this is binary. What is the hexadecimal equivalent of this? 0, 0, 0, 0. 1, 1, 0 is nothing but 12. That is nothing but C 0, 0, 0. That is the hexadecimal equivalent of this. Okay, if you write this into pin select register, pin select 0 register, it's a 32-bit register. Therefore, we are going to configure P0.7 as external interrupt 2. That's the meaning of this. Okay, suppose if we want to use EINT 0, then you have to go for P0.1. If you want to use EINT 1, you have to go for P0.3. In this case, we are using P0.7, means we are using EINT 2, you have to go for P0.7. That is very, very important. Okay, so I explained all the concept, okay, each and every statement. Okay, this is your main program. This is your main program. Here I'm going to use two functions, initialize external interrupt and void external ISR. It's ISR. Okay, this is to configure our interrupt system. This is our task, subtask. Okay, separate program. Once if you interrupt the system, you have to execute this particular function. Okay, this is your main program. Always the main program must be in infinite loop. Okay, here initialize external interrupt means it's going to configure interrupt system while 1. Say infinite loop, it comes to this. It keep executing this. Okay, suppose once if you press that switch, then there will be a transition from high to low. Okay, there will be a edge. I told you already it's a negative edge. Then the system comes to know that, microcontroller comes to know that there will be a request. So immediately it takes you to where this particular program. Okay, this particular program. Here there will be port P1.31 to P1.24, means you have to configure 24 to 31 as output, because here we have 8 LEDs. Okay, there will be 8 LEDs are connected starting from P1.24 to P1.31. We have 8 LEDs. We have to configure these 8 LEDs as output. That is the purpose of using this statement. I'm writing this data to what? IO direction register. 1 for out, 0 for input, 1 for output, 1 for output, 0 for input. After writing this a statement, after executing the statement, what happened? It will configure bit number P1.24 to P1.31 as output. Next, IO1 pin exclusive OR. This is nothing but exclusive OR with this data. Okay, this data. So what happens? It's going to create a toggle. Suppose, assume the initial content of IO pin is 00000. So what data we have here? FF. Okay, means 1111. Okay, it's something like this. Actually, we have something. Just I will explain. Suppose here initially we have 000. So let it be 000. That is the initial content of your IO pin. Then what is some data here? The data is let it be 11. Just I'm going to explain with respect to what do you call 4 ones. Then if we exclusive or with this, what happened here? 1 with 0 with 1 1, 0 with 1 1 exclusive OR. Then what you will get? Will get 1 1 1 1. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Then this becomes the content of your IO pin. Means according to this, initially LEDs are off. Okay, once if we change, the LEDs are on. Then afterwards, suppose second time you're going to interrupt the system, then once again it will come back. Then once again, if you execute this statement, then 1 1 1 1, the data remains same. The data remains same. Then here what happened? Here what happens here? Here one exclusive or with 1 0, one with 1 0, one with 1 0, one with 1 0. Therefore, what you'll get? You'll get 0 0 0. Means if it is 0, it's going to make it 1. If it is 1, it's going to make it 0. If it is 0, once again to make it 1. Therefore, it's a toggling. If it is on, it's going to make it. If it is off, it's going to make it on. If it is on, it's going to make it off. So that is the meaning of this particular statement. Okay, that's the meaning of this particular statement. Understood this? Okay. So here, yes, I'm going to clear this. Okay. Understood this point? Then after completion of this job, it happens within a fraction of second. It happens within a fraction of second. After completion of this job, we have to clear the interrupt. Means request is serviced. Okay, is to write no tick mark. Okay, the service is over. Otherwise, what happen? You'll claim, okay, my request is not serviced. Okay, that's why also same thing. So after servicing the request, we have to clear. By writing this statement. Already explained about this. Then we have to write 0 to this particular register, vector address register. Vector address register. Once if you write 0 here, that indicates end of interrupt execution. It will go back to your main program. It will go back to what? Your main program. This is your main program. It's keep on executing infinitely. While one means always true, it's keep executing. Assume there'll be a request, you're going to press the switch, then it takes you to this particular program, it will execute this, it will come back. It's something like this. Okay. If you press the switch, there'll be a on or off toggling. Okay. But here, what is I told you here, that is initialize external interrupt. Okay, it's a function. So that's the meaning of this. Just listen. Already explained all these details. Okay, explain all this detail. Pin select, external mode register, polarity register. Okay, interrupt select register, address file, vector control file, interrupt enable, external interrupt initially. I explained each and everything. Therefore, what is your step number 1? What's your step number 1? That is, we have to configure, have to initialize, have to configure interrupt system. Then after configuring interrupt system, we have to write one program, and we have to write a program in such a way that it has to execute infinitely. That is very, very important. Assume I don't have any work to do, you have to create some infinite loop like this. Okay. Then assume there'll be a request from external devices, then it takes you to that interrupt service subroutine. Then it executes this program. Then after completion of this, it will come back. It continues this particular program. Okay. Then what is the purpose of using this? What is the purpose of using this? To configure your interrupt system. This is very, very important. Okay, understood this? Any doubts here? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I will give demo for this. Okay, just I will give demo. Just I will give demo for this. Okay. Okay, so this is the program. It's a complete program. You can see here. Here delay, actually in this case I'm not using delay. This is delay is not required. Okay, delay is not required. This is to initialize to configure your interrupt system. Okay, this is your ISR. This is your main program. So this belongs to your main program. From here to it's your main program. Then starting from this, that is from here to here, this is a function to configure your interrupt system. If you want to configure in system, you have to execute this particular function. Then this is your ISR, interrupt service subroutine. So what is the job of this particular program? So once if we interrupt the system, it's going to toggle the LED. Okay. So this is a program just already created a project. I already explained all this procedure, how to create a microvision project and how to type the program, then how to generate, how to create X file, then how to download. I explained all the procedure. Okay, just I'm going to give demo directly. Just I'm going to execute this. Okay, this is the procedure. Then we have to go to your Kill Microvision Flash Magic software. Then select appropriate things. I already selected LPC2148, communication port 6, 9600 baud rate. Okay, let it be enabled. Then browse. Here our external interrupt 2. This is the name of the X file. Then open, then start. Okay, actually that is not connected. We have to connect. Have to connect, then only have to connect the board, then only it will work. Then it is downloading that X file to your board. Okay, it's going to download that X file to your board. Okay, install this here. Okay, now I'm going to give the demo on the board. Okay, now this is the board. Okay, now here there'll be 8 LEDs are there, 8 LEDs. Okay, there'll be a but already programmed. That program is stored in LPC2148 microcontroller memory. Just I'm going to switch off. So let it be on and off. Now these are we have 8 LEDs. 8 LEDs. This is your external interrupt switch. This is the external interrupt switch. Just I'm going to press. What happened here? There is no main program. The main program is nothing, do nothing. We don't have any task in the main program. Okay, just if we interrupt the system, then in ISR we have written a program to toggle 8 LEDs. Here we have 8 LEDs. Now it is off. Then once again, if you interrupt, that is on. Okay, off, on, off, say off. Okay, on. It's something like this. Okay, it happens within a fraction of a second. Okay, there'll be some switchover. See, initially on, if we press off, means there'll be some transition. Okay, what is this? All are off, then on. So this is the way. Understood this? Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain case 2 also. Case 2 also, there'll be one more program. I'm going to do that also. Okay, now this is our case 2. In case 2, I've written some main program. See, I already explained about this. So we know that this is your main starting from here to here. Here there'll be a program for 7 segment display to display count from 0 to 9 and A through F. That's a program already I have discussed in other videos. Just go through it. Okay, it's optional. It's not compulsory from the point of your syllabus. But if you feel really interesting, then do this. No problem at all. Okay, this is your main program. This is the actual way. Okay, the program must be like this. Because if you have more than one task, then only you feel there'll be some effect in the interrupt. Otherwise, there's no meaning at all. Okay, now this is your main program. What is the job of main program? It's keep on counting from 0 to 9 and A through F infinitely. It's a while one, beginning of the while, end of the while. Within this while loop, we are displaying from 0 to F on 7 segment display. Okay, this is your main program. What is your subprogram? What is your ISR, interrupt service subroutine? It is a program to toggle 8 LEDs. Okay, that is a purpose. Here, this is a delay program. Actually, this delay program for your 7 segment display. And starting from here to here, it's a code to configure your interrupt system. Okay, I explained everything in detail. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can write in a comment section. Okay, we'll try to solve it. Okay, now this is the complete program. Now just I will save, then okay, 0 errors, 0 warnings, and X file is created. Then go to your board, Microvision, everything as it is. Okay, then you have to connect to the board. I'm connecting the board. Then start. I'm downloading this X file to your LPC2148 microcontroller board. So that job also completed. Okay, now just I'm going to show the demo on the board. Okay, now this is the demo for case 2. This is the 7 segment display. Because of more brightness, we are not able to see properly. Actually, it's displaying from 0 to 9 and A through F. Okay, A through F. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Because of more brightness, we are not able to recognize. Okay, actually, really it's displaying properly. Now here we know that already told you about this. There'll be 8 LEDs. This is your external interrupt button. So once if you press here, all LEDs are on. But that is also running. So you can see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Huh? Can you able to see this? Okay. Now here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, F. Let's start from beginning. Let's keep on executing infinitely 0 to 9 and A through F. It's a main program. Okay, the main program must be infinite. Okay, now this toggling LED is your interrupt service subroutine. It may be any other program. Say it will execute only if you interrupt the system. After completion of this job, it has to go back and it has to continue that work. Understood this? Therefore, here it is not possible to differentiate the transition period from your main program to your ISR because it happens within a fraction of second. Say microsecond, nanosecond. So that's why it's not possible to differentiate it. It won't stop or it won't come back. No, it's not possible to see that. Okay, see here. See, it will off, but still it's working. Understood this? Okay, now here make it on. Actually, we're running two programs. Okay, but it's not possible to run both the program simultaneously. Okay, simultaneously, it will stop main program, then go to ISR, execute that. After completion of that, it will go back and continue. It is happening this, but it happens within a fraction of a second, microsecond, nanosecond, fraction of microsecond, fraction of nanosecond. So that's why it's not possible to differentiate the switchover time between main program and your subprogram. If it is the case, you have to insert some delay. Okay, now see here. That is off. It is on. Toggle. But at the same time, your program is also running. Okay, but it's not possible to run both the program simultaneously. So that is the beauty of this. Okay. So try to do some project using interrupt system. It's very, very important. Okay. Any doubts here? Okay. So thanks for watching. If you have any doubts, you can write in a comment section. Okay. Thank you.